Welcome to another exciting episode of Cars with Big Boy Trev. I am Big Boy Trev.
My name is Murigi.
And today we have an amazing show. We have something from Germany, Munich to be specific. The BMW 3 Series G20. You do not want to miss that. But first things first.
Let's check out the news.
On to our first news item, we're talking about Isuzu and Mazda partnering up to create the next generation of pickups. And I can tell you for a fact, that's an interesting proposition because remember, Mazda divorced Ford and now looked for another partner in Isuzu who are renowned for building quality and durable pickups. Mr. Murigi, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, what is happening in the rest of the motor industry now is finally coming to double cabs. It's called badge engineering, where people just come together, build one platform, then give it different different names. So basically, like the Touareg is a Cayenne, and it's also an Audi Q7.
Yes.
So that is coming now to the pickup market because all of these guys need economies of scale.
Yes.
So you have one big factory producing very many vehicles, keeping the cost low, then you put badges on each and every of them.
Well, according to the information that I have, they'll be sharing the same engines as well. And remember, Isuzu are renowned in building very durable engines for years and years. So we can expect a lot of competition now that also Ford has partnered with Volkswagen, Mr. Murigi.
Yep, for the Ford Ranger, the next generation Ford Ranger is going to be a shared platform between the Amarok and the Ranger.
On to our second news item, and we've just received reports that the Chinese Grand Prix has been pushed and postponed till further notice due to the ongoing coronavirus. Mr. Murigi, this coronavirus is destabilizing the motor industry. What are your thoughts on them even moving Formula One from Shanghai?
Well, I mean, just last week in our news, we were talking about certain companies stopping their production in China.
Yes.
This is just basically a reflection on how much the world relies on China for manufacturing across the board. So that has been hit in manufacturing, but now we are seeing it happening now in terms of entertainment with Formula One. So this is not going to be the only thing that's going to suffer. Probably across the board, anything that China is touching right now, anything that they're a piece of is going to take a hit at this point in time.
Oh, that's sad. We can't wait to see. Maybe another candidate city will have that. We are hoping that Kyalami in South Africa will probably just get it. And we're just about to hear FIA tell us one or two things about the next course of action. On to our third news item, and we've just also received reports that Toyota are planning to bring in the Corolla GRMN. It looks like this GRMN bug is spreading like the coronavirus. Why is Toyota so excited about this GRMN project?
Well, just like everybody else who has a motorsports division, it's about now providing a premium experience that you can charge a little more for.
Yes.
So as you are aware, the current chairman of Toyota right now drives our GT86.
Yes.
He's a petrol head at the core,
and
this is what's coming out right now. They're looking forward to doing more of this. On the Lexus side, of course, now you have the F-Sport going down. So I think that's what's happening, that technology is going to trickle down into Toyota.
And you can imagine now the Corolla will be fighting with the likes of the Golf R.
Yep.
Golf R, Golf R is not a joke. It's one of the hottest hatches in the business. And of course, many others like the A45 AMG and so many things. They even have the title of having the most powerful 3-port engine in the world, 200 kilowatts and 560 Newton meters of torque on a 6-speed manual. That thing will be a rocket, 0 to 100 in less than 4 seconds. I can't wait, Mr. Murigi. That will be an exciting thing. But for Corolla, we know Corolla are normally just normal blunt cars, but I think it's bringing out that excitement that now Toyota is bringing out a lot of fancy and more powerful cars. We are privileged to have the 330i, and this particular car we want to find out if number one still holds heritage of the BMW sporting performance, and of course does it live to the expectation of it being a proper handling vehicle. Let's get inside and see what this car is made of. Step inside the cabin of the BMW 3 Series and I can tell you for a fact that evolution has been the name of the game for BMW. Ever since the first BMW was unveiled in 1975, the 7 generations have shown that BMW are able to build the compact executive vehicle that people yearn for every single day. It's a reason why you work hard in the office, just to have that little bit of luxury. So step inside this particular G20 and I can tell you the evolution from the first 3 Series to now. It's there. You can tell this is a proper BMW. Of course, you do have the hallmarks. For example, you have an angled driver dashboard system that allows you to concentrate and see all the visible aspects of the vehicle, allowing you to control the vehicle without stressing. You know exactly where each and every knob and button is. Let's start with the center console. As you can see, On top, you do have a tablet style design that actually houses a color and touch system that is very clear and precise, high definition HD, and it houses the media, climate control, navigation, and certain apps that you probably would need for your everyday use. Speaking of the radio, you do have a thumping audio system that sounds like this. You know, that kind of quality is good quality courtesy of Harman Kardon. That is the standard supplier of BMW audio. And obviously you do have quite a number of things. You can actually control the radio using gesture. So you just need to either circle like this and it will be able to react, as you can see, or reduce the volume. That is the beauty of the BMW technology pack. This particular car has the technology pack that actually also has the voice recognition system that allows you to control the certain aspects of the multimedia interface. So for example, what time is it?
It is 11:43 a.m.
So actively you can actually use the system to control audio, check out navigation, even find out who's calling you, or even send a text message for somebody if you're running late for a meeting. That is the beauty of having the BMW technology pack. Now, moving downwards, of course, you do have dual zone climate control that allows you to control the different settings within the cabin. So passengers and the driver alike can actually control the different temperature settings and be very comfortable. Moving down, obviously, towards the gearbox console, you do have quite a number of array of buttons and knobs that allows you to control also certain aspects of the multimedia interface. Obviously, you do have the main iDrive, which has been an evolution since 2002, and it has obviously the media, home, maps, navigation, and communications. You can control that either using a knob or touch. And obviously on the gearbox panel where everything matters, you do have your traditional shifter, it's a joystick, and of course you do have the ability to flex the muscle of that engine using the Tiptronic functionality. And obviously you do have a dynamic pack. This is the traction setting, so you do have performance setting of Eco Pro, Comfort, Sport, and Dynamic. And of course obviously you do have the start-stop assist, which allows you to have a better time in traffic without stepping on the brake all the time. So as you can see on the steering wheel, it's a 3-spoke steering wheel. It's leather cladded and heated for those cold days. And obviously on the left hand side, you have the cruise control functionality that allows you to control the certain aspects of cruise control depending on the different circumstances that you're in. And obviously on the right hand side, you do have the media and navigation pack, which allows you to control the telephone, the media, the volume, and so much more while driving this particular BMW. Speaking of the seats, so comfortable. Big Boy is so comfortable, I can tell you. A lot of lumbar support, leg and headroom is fantastic, and you have multiple adjustable seats, up to 2 drivers. So you can actually have 2 drivers with different settings, and then the memory pack will allow you to set the precise position of the seat, steering wheel, and of course allow you to drive this car flexibly, especially during long distance. Obviously you do have quite a number of different leather touches, and Mr. Birig is going to give us much more about the back and of course the carrying capacity of the 3 Series.
Coming to the rear of this 7th generation 3 Series, and it's important to note that they made the car a little longer and a little wider, and that made for a lot more space than the outgoing generation. This means that this is actually a very comfortable place to be in at the back here. Trevor is 6'1", and as you can see, I have a lot of space over here because this seat is actually set to his driving position. So in terms of space, there's loads of space available over here. You have, of course, some map pockets at the back seats over here. You have door pockets over here that are big enough to hold some water. In addition to that, there's a cup holder inside here, and there's loads of space for the stuff that you need to carry. In addition to all of this, because these are 40-40-20 split fold seats, you can actually access the boot through here. In terms of power, you have a 12-volt socket down here, in addition to 2 USB-C cables. So it means that every person sitting at the back here can charge their devices. If they need to stay cool, there's also now 3-zone air conditioning. So in the front for the passenger and the driver, and then in the rear, you have 1 zone over here, which you can control over here at the back. So to activate the park assist feature on the BMW 3 Series, you press the park assist button, which is right over here next to the gear shift selector. Then what you do is you just basically drive through the mall or the parking space that you're going for, and the car is going to look for a parking close to it. So it has found a parking space. So all you need to do to continue is just press the P on the screen. And then from that point, you take off your hands from the steering and also from the brake, and the car just completely takes over. So my feet are not on any of the pedals and my hands are off the steering wheel, and the car is just going to park itself. And we're done. That's it. So coming round to the back of the 3 Series, and we have a powered tailgate. This is not something that you really need on a saloon car, but it's nice to have, and it's a premium feature, of course, because this is a BMW. In here we have about 480 liters of space, which is exactly the same as an Audi A4, but just a little less than what you have in the C-Class. Because this is one of the East African variants, we have a full-size spare tire over here, and again, because this is a 3 Series, the battery for the car is in the back here. So let's take this on the road and see how it handles on tarmac. So hi guys, and welcome to the launch of the Mercedes-Benz G-Wagen. This is a new car, it's a full refresh. After 40 years of this legend and its legendary capability being in the market, they've decided to do a refresh. So this is still, actually the chassis code is the same as the outgoing version, but this is a completely new vehicle. You're talking about from new set of engines, new drivetrain. It's a larger vehicle, it's wider, it's longer, it has more ground clearance, has enhanced capabilities that the old version didn't have. So on the outside, what you're looking at is, of course, the new Panamericana grille. This is, of course, an AMG vehicle, the G63 AMG. This is one of the variants that Mercedes-Benz Kenya is going to be selling you, DT Dobby. They're only going to be selling you the G63, and then in 2020, they're going to be looking at bringing the G350D, which is a diesel variant. Of course, with Mercedes-Benz's new inline 6-cylinder 3-liter turbo diesel, which promises to give this greater range on the same size of fuel tank. So in case you're interested in range of driving from Nairobi to Mombasa, Nairobi to Arusha, in fact, depending on the kind of long distance things that you're doing, you might want to consider that 350D. But at the moment, you have the G63 AMG. They are not going to be offering the G3, the G500, G550 in our market. So this is the only variant that you have available. Prices are going to be a bit dear. This is not a very cheap car. Prices of this car obviously is about 37 million shillings. This is not a car that is going to be for the ordinary mwananchi, but for captains of industry, for people who have gotten to a level in their life where they feel that they need the best or nothing, this is the car that you need to look at. This is obviously a very versatile car. One of the reasons this is something that you may want to consider if you're in the market for a car like this is the fact that although it has great off-road capabilities, they've done quite a number of changes to make it better on the road itself. So that starts, of course, with the front axle, which is now independent suspension as opposed to the old suspension. They've made the car a bit wider, they made it a bit longer, they made it a little easier to drive. The car now has a 4-liter V8 that's putting out somewhere north of 500 horsepower and 800 Newton meters of torque. That propels this from 0 to 100 in now 4.5 seconds, which is incredible considering how big and heavy this thing is. A very imposing presence. Like I said, has the brand new Panamera grille from AMG. Let's have a look on the car on the inside, see what they've done. The interior of the G-Wagen has gotten a complete, total refresh. We're looking, of course, now at the new dual 12.3-inch displays. A digital driver information display in the center, in the middle, in front of the driver, and then of course now the infotainment system. It doesn't get the latest MBUX system. That's starting of course in the Mercedes-Benz A-Class, but this has best of class as far as I'm concerned. Being the G63 AMG, this has a Sennheiser top-of-the-line system, and because it's a G-Wagen, it has these 3 center switches for the locking differentials, front, rear, and central, because this is still an off-road beast. Because this is the first edition, it has very many red highlights on the exterior as well as the interior. So the steering wheel, as you can see, the safety belt, as you can see, is red, a lot of red inserts on the seat itself. And then on the carbon fiber, that is carbon fiber and aluminium on the interior. The carbon fiber has red threads within it. And we also now, of course, red contrast stitching all over the place. This is a fantastic place to be in. They have made this more of a car to be driven on the road. So it means that the seats, the display, the technology inside here, of course, now is everything that's coming in from the S-Class. So you're looking at Distronic Plus, attention desist. So like if you start getting tired, the car is going to warn you by vibrating the steering wheel and of course popping up a light. So this actually is going to be it's a fantastic place to be in. Because they made the car longer and wider, it's actually more comfortable to be inside now, the new G-Wagon. It's a lot more space for your elbows, a lot space for making it a bit wider.
I'm at the camera ring and I'm sampling the BMW 330i, the G20 edition. Now, 25 years of excellence from BMW building the 3 Series, 7 generations down the line, and I can tell you for a fact that this is still a BMW. So today, we're going to find out if this G20 330i is as capable as the previous generation or it's gone a step and a notch higher. Let's talk about the power. Now, up front you do have a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. Well, I know, yes, it's a 2-liter, and we know 330i badges come with an inline 6, but times have changed. Now people are into providing vehicles that are more fuel efficient and have a lower carbon footprint for the globe. So BMW decided to put a 2-liter, and it's just not any other 2-liter. It's a 2-liter turbo with 2 sequential turbos that allows this car to accelerate from 0 to 100 in exactly 5.8 seconds, and of course it produces 190 kilowatts or 260 horsepower depending where you're coming from. Enough to accelerate like this. Now the power is sent to the rear wheels courtesy of an 8-speed ZF gearbox, which is very fast and very responsive depending on the driving mode that you've put on. Right now I'm on comfort, and when I do sport later on, I will show you that this particular car is very responsive, and of course it also allows you to explore the full potential of this particular engine, returning a good economy fuel figure of 5.8 to 6.1 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, in terms of handling, you want to ask, does this car feel like a proper BMW? Well, I can tell you for a fact, this new chassis, it's a modular chassis by BMW that shares the platform with the 5 and the 7, so it's scalable. It's called a scalable architecture chassis. The G series actually has similar components. It feels like a 5 Series and also a 7 Series, very planted on the road. And of course we're going to put it on sport mode. Now sport mode allows this car to change its dynamics. So you have, faster throttle response. The gear shifts are also very fast and hang on longer to give you more power as you power out. And of course the suspension also beefs up so that you're able to hug the road properly. Now this allows this car to accelerate like this. So I'm just going to put it on. I'm going to slow down, and then I'm just going to give it some boost, and listen to that. And of course you do have McPherson struts up front, and at the back of the Z axle, and of course you have the different nanny aids. On Sports Plus you do have traction control that's partially off to allow you to swing the rear and still give you that grip that you need. So the acceleration is fantastic. I am doing 150 km an hour. Safety is very important in this particular category. Remember, this car plays in a category where the likes of the C-Class, Mercedes and Audi A4 reign supreme in terms of safety. Now safety is critical. What does this BMW have? The G20 has a mix of active and passive safety features that allows you and prevents you from getting into harm's way. For the active part, you do have anti-lock braking system, you have dynamic stability control, you have cornering braking control, you have ESP, which is standard now. And of course, if all hell breaks loose, then you can rely on the multiple airbags, a 5-star chassis that dissipates impact energy away from the passenger cell, and of course safety belts, which is the most important thing in your car. But it's more than enough just to talk about performance and power. How is this car to live with on an everyday basis? So join me, Rigi, and I as we do a value for money proposition from how much it costs to service this car into so many other things. So guys, you've just seen this particular BMW 330i perform on the camera ring, and I can tell you, it still has that traditional BMW performance. Mr. Mirigi, tell me much more about this particular car. Do you think that BMW has continued the excellence when building the 3 Series?
Well, I mean, this thing has years of heritage. This is the 7th generation. You don't spoil something that's going right.
Yes.
They have sold 15 million of these things since 1975 when the first 3 Series came out. And this is the perfect example of bringing that into the 21st century.
Yes.
The technology, the driving dynamics, and the price are actually pretty incredible.
Speaking about price, how much is this car?
Well, this is the 330. Of course, now this is now with a 2-liter 4-cylinder, but now at a higher state of tune. These prices start at 8.5 million shillings.
Wow. And who are the key rivals for this particular car?
Traditionally, the key rivals for this are the Mercedes C-Class and the Audi A4. But it's important to note that as people are moving to compact SUVs, this is facing more competition from those compact SUVs as well. So you're looking internally at the BMW X3, externally at the Audi Q3 or the Q5 and the Mercedes-Benz GLC.
It's one thing buying this particular car, but the biggest question is, will you be able to maintain it? So today on Cars with Big Boy Trev, we're talking about total cost of ownership. How much does it cost to maintain this particular car? So Inchcape, who are the official dealers of BMW, will cost and ask you to pay 17,100 shillings for minor service, and it involves the following: change of engine oil filter, air filter, screen washer, consumables and labor. Now for medium service, which is done approximately after every 6 months, Inchcape will ask you to pay 27,558 for the following: engine oil filter, air filter, AC filter, screen washer, consumables and labor. And finally, major service that's done yearly, Inchcape will give you an invoice of 38,248 for the following: change of engine oil filter, air filter, AC filter, fuel filter, screen washer, consumables, spark plugs and labor. So if you think you can afford to do that, then this particular car is a car for you. And remember, it comes with a 5-year 200,000 kilometer warranty, a first from Inchcape Kenya, and of course you have an optional 3-year 60,000 kilometer service pack, depending on which particular package you pick for this particular car. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Cars with Big Boy Trev. As always, it's an honor and pleasure. If you have any questions, comments or queries, don't hesitate to write to us at on social media handles below, and we'll get back to you next week. Sending out, this is Big Boy Trev.
This is Mirigi. Drive safe
and be safe.